UK content creator and Pokimane's current roommate Ellum is in controversy after a document was put out against him by his ex-girlfriend Captain Puffy, where she alleges that he emotionally manipulated and cheated on her, along with allegedly abusing their dog and clout chasing off of his peers. The document goes into all of it, so we'll read that in this video, but some people levied criticisms at it as there is no direct proof in the document, text messages and such, with others saying that this absolutely fits Ellum's outward-facing personality and that they've always viewed him as a leech. Ellum live reacted to the document dropping, stating that this may actually be a good thing, and going back and forth on whether he should officially respond to it live on air or not. There's a lot to get into, so welcome to the internet versus Ellum. It starts when Captain Puffy tweets the Google Doc out with a caption addressing my past relationship with Ellum, and the document starts by saying, "I've avoided speaking about this for nearly 2 years. Not because I didn't have anything to say, but because this relationship genuinely broke me in ways I'm still trying to understand. I did not want my career, something I spent over 10 years building, to be defined by one person or one relationship. I stayed quiet because I wanted to move forward without letting this consume my life or my work, but it hasn't stayed in the past. My breakup with Ellum gets brought back up constantly on Reddit, Twitter, TikTok, and in my mentions almost monthly. Speculation never stopped, and it has made it incredibly difficult to heal or move forward. I've also seen people say that if something truly bad happened, that I should speak up about it so they know who they are supporting, or so people around Josh are not unaware. While it is not my responsibility to share something this traumatic publicly, staying silent has not helped me move forward either. At this point, it feels like this is the only way to finally put this to rest so I can move into the new year and focus on my career and my life again. I want to be clear from the start. I have never asked anyone to stop being friends with Josh, ever. The idea that UK creators stopped speaking to him because of me is not true. Many of them were friends with him long before we dated, and have their own reasons for distancing themselves. Obviously, they weren't happy witnessing how he treated me, but that isn't their sole reason for cutting him off. I have spoken privately with a few LA creators who reached out when speculation resurfaced, and I hold absolutely no malice toward them or the friendships they continue to have. I have only ever had good interactions with most of them, but many of them are aware of what he's done. I am sharing this now because what happened has been reduced online to just cheating. It was not. It was emotional manipulation, financial and career exploitation, and behavior that was intentional and later admitted to. Very early on, about 2 weeks into dating, Josh asked to move in together, saying his lease was ending soon even though he could have gone month to month. Around that time, Simon and Italia had just moved into a new apartment in London, and he made it clear he wanted to live near them. The apartment was far beyond what I had planned to spend. I was already financially supporting my entire household and family in New York, but I agreed, as long as he paid a fair portion of the rent, as I wanted to make him happy. At that time, he made significantly less money than me, so I never expected half, but he ended up paying nothing for the entirety of that lease. When he came to New York to meet my family for the first time, instead of spending time with us, he stayed in my room almost the entire trip doing a subathon. During that visit, I wanted to surprise him by telling him I had secured the apartment and went to show my mom a YouTube video of the layout. Instead, I discovered in my YouTube watch history on my laptop that he had been rewatching videos of him and his ex on holiday, along with videos titled things like, "What does it mean when your ex says it's too soon?" Looking back, I should have ended the relationship right there. Instead, I believed his apologies and his explanation that he was trying to delete all the content involving his ex. However, I later found out he was trying to meet up with her for dinner, hence the YouTube video search. Around that same time, he made our relationship public online despite me asking him not to. My own mother found out we were dating from a YouTube short. I then explicitly asked him not to make us moving in together public either, and he did it anyway. Every TikTok, YouTube short, and video now became focused on his girlfriend being Captain Puffy. He'd use me for YouTube videos without even asking me. I'd be mid-streaming myself, and then suddenly his cameraman would knock on the door saying that I'm filming a video for Josh, so I'd have to end my own stream. His entire YouTube channel almost became a couples channel, and I received nothing for it. It became clear very early on that my boundaries mattered less than views, which slowly ate away at me. All of these videos are still on his channel now at the current time of writing this. When I officially moved to the UK right before Christmas, after he met my family and told my mom he would look after me, our apartment was not ready yet. He refused to let me stay at his place for the week, saying it was meant to be his and his ex's apartment, even though they never lived together, and that there were too many memories and he did not want to mix me with his memories there. As a result, I spent thousands of dollars alone in a hotel in central London during the holidays, right after leaving my family and moving abroad. He never visited me once, rarely called. He stayed up all night playing games with his creator friend. I was was incredibly lonely and homesick, and he knew that. When the apartment was ready, I moved in before him because he said he needed more time. He moved at the last minute and did not come over to help me build anything but the sofa. He did not help set anything up and did not make it feel like a home. From that point on, I paid for almost everything. We lived in a very expensive apartment that I covered almost entirely. I did all of the shopping, cooking, cleaning, and took care of the house, our dog, and every responsibility that came with running a home. The only bill he consistently paid was the water bill. Nearly every dinner or outing, he would slide the check across the table to me, or joke about using my debit card so it looked like he paid. Even my birthday dinners came with complaints where he had to pay for me and our friends. He also intentionally took advantage of my generosity. He told me his ex never gave him gifts, which made me feel bad knowing my love language is gift giving and acts of service. He purposely mentioned expensive things he wanted in front of me, knowing I would feel compelled to get them for him. Whenever I confronted him about money, talking to girls, or his just overall poor behavior, it would always take numerous heated discussions just to see even a small amount of change, only for him to immediately go back to exactly the same behavior. When we moved to a new apartment, he wouldn't help me do any apartment viewings despite me being not familiar with the UK. When I asked if he could help even by just looking online and telling me what he liked, he said I could hire his brother to come look with me instead. When I got the new apartment, he then complained and said he didn't like it and that it was too small for him. When we broke up and he moved out of our final apartment, he left behind paperwork that showed his bank balance from over a year prior. It showed a very significant amount of money saved, more than enough to have contributed the entire time if he wanted to. When I confronted him, his explanation was that he became obsessed with watching his bank balance grow, even while knowing I was hemorrhaging through my savings paying for both my family back in New York and our life in London. After the breakup, every conversation we had about money, he tried to negotiate what he owed me in rent. He made several deductions and paid the bare minimum over the course of over a year. He did not pay utilities, did not pay his own council tax, and tried to deduct time he chose to spend in LA and Japan as if being on vacation meant rent did not apply. When Simon and Talia moved to the countryside, Josh wanted to follow them. This is why I leased a Tesla. He said he would not have time to drive me around for errands, etc., and I was meant to learn to drive. After I got the car, he sold his own, kept the money, and paid nothing towards the Tesla or its insurance. The Tesla effectively became his, as I never drove it once. After the breakup, I was left stuck with a lease and had to pay thousands to break the lease. After I had already done multiple house viewings, paperwork, and paid deposits for a countryside rental, he suddenly changed his mind, saying he'd probably be in London several days a week and needed a studio because creators wanted one to travel out of the countryside to film with him. I told him I wasn't paying for both a countryside home and a London studio, so we stayed in London, and now we're stuck with a Tesla. His behavior with other women slowly wore me down. He secretly messaged his ex and regularly DM'd women he effectively did not know, almost always streamers significantly smaller than him. He would follow them on social media, reply to Instagram stories, and then message them daily with flirty and playful conversations, and never in front of me. When I brought it up, he claimed they were just friends or that my behavior was controlling, reminding him of his ex. I have never been uncomfortable with partners having female friends, especially given how many Josh publicly had, but random women he had never interacted with, messaging daily despite me saying it made me uncomfortable and crossed a line. He continued anyway, stating that I'd never break up with him. At one point, he even said that if he cheated on me, at least he would get clout from it. One of the most telling moments to how little he cared was when I was anxious and emotional, and he told me to take a pregnancy test. He made me go buy it alone and then went live on stream. It was not even an important stream, just casual mod games that could have waited. He never came out of his office to check on me. My friend G was the first person to know the test was negative. He later texted saying he assumed it was negative. I later found out that day he had been texting his ex. When he started streaming with the LA creators, our entire life flipped upside down to fit around theirs. He told me it was temporary and that he wanted to take advantage of the opportunity while I was there, meaning the clout and connections that came with it. I genuinely like the LA creators and hold no resentment toward them, but after over 6 months of being his last priority and watching him care more about their approval than my well-being, the relationship was already over. If any of his creator friends were even mildly upset with him, it would ruin his entire day. But if I was truly upset with any of his actions, he effectively did not care. He would stonewall me or go to bed while I cried next to him, and never changed his behavior. During the end of our relationship, he traveled to LA numerous times for various events or sometimes no events at all and just consistently extended, staying longer and longer each time. The breaking point was when he said he was traveling to LA for one of Cutie's events, which I don't think he ever ended up taking part in, and then left me home alone for the entirety of the Christmas season, knowing that our relationship was already in a vulnerable uncomfortable place. Throughout his stay in LA, I had multiple conversations about how upset and depressed I was and how his consistent bad behavior was only making it worse. Despite all of these conversations, he just kept extending his trip anyway. He then came home on the last possible flight on Christmas Eve and walked in the door and didn't even give me a hug, and we just sat in silence eating dinner. I obviously was heartbroken and really upset as he just continued to ignore me the rest of the night, but when we went to bed, he then tried to sleep with me, to which I rejected. On Christmas Day, he once again barely spoke to me. However, we spent the day at his family's house, to which he was dead silent, since he said he was tired from jet lag. We came home and went to bed, and he then tried to sleep with me again after ignoring me the entire car ride home again, which I rejected. Japan was meant to be our first proper trip away together. Instead, it later became a crater trip. I loved the people going, but our relationship was already in shambles and I could not pretend everything was okay. I stayed home. I had already tried multiple times to leave him. While he was in Japan, he asked me to wait to break up with him and think about it. I couldn't wait anymore. I sent him a long message explaining why I could not wait for him to come back, how broken he made me feel, and how deeply depressed I was and all of the unforgivable things he's done. I honestly thought breaking up with him while he was there was kinder. He was surrounded by friends who could comfort him, and it meant he could go to LA afterwards instead of being stuck in the UK, which I knew he did not want to be in anyway. My friends in the UK were deeply concerned for my mental and physical health. I barely left the house and stopped eating regularly. I showed up alone to Christmas events, visibly sad. When I first told him I wanted to break up with him, he rejected it, and overnight he became the perfect boyfriend. It showed me he had always known how to be a good partner. He just did not want to be one for me until he felt there were finally genuine consequences. He was suddenly attentive and thoughtful, almost disturbingly so, but if I sat alone too long, he would ask what I was doing or who I was texting. If I did my makeup with the door closed, he would come in, open the door, then leave. It was not comforting. It was upsetting. During this stage, I overheard him on the phone with a creator friend saying he thought the relationship was GG, assuming I was asleep, which made it feel like our relationship was a joke to him. After we broke up, we stayed in contact briefly. On Valentine's Day, he sent me an Amazon package with flowers and a teddy bear, which I thought was sweet, until I realized the package also included a sex toy that can be controlled through an app. He told me on the phone to let me know if I had used it. I told him that it made me deeply uncomfortable and I found it creepy, and he said it was just a joke. When he came back from LA after the breakup, I stayed at Talia's house so he could collect his belongings and leave because I did not want to see him. He said he needed more time and instead streamed the entire time and left packing and moving to the last possible minute. He knew there was a camera in my office and had no reason to be in there as none of his belongings were in there. Throughout the course of my stay at Talia's, I had several notifications saying there was movement in my office. When checking, I saw he had repeatedly showered in my office bathroom and walked past the camera completely naked multiple times. Even after I texted him reminding them there was a camera in there. We had 3 separate showers in the house, and prior to this, he had never used my office bathroom before. I also need to say this clearly, the way he treated our dog Pudding was heartbreaking. When I flew back to New York to visit my mom, he would not let her out of her crate until around 5 p.m. because that was when he woke up since he stayed up late to play with LA craters. He would not walk her, did not clean up her messes, rarely played with her, and often locked her out of his room while streaming. He did not pay for her food, grooming, or vet bills. When I flew back to London with my mom, there was dog poo all over the backyard. Although he's admitted publicly that she is my dog and that I was the one who mainly took care of her, she is still currently an emote on his stream. I initially dated Josh because many of our mutual creator friends vouched for him and believed he was a good guy who had been treated badly in his last relationship. Over time, the truth slowly revealed itself to all of us. I later discovered that this was a pattern of behavior that had been repeated in his previous relationships. I take accountability that I let him get away with far too much, gave him far too much, and paid for far too much. My nature and love language is very much gift-giving and acts of service, and sadly I allowed him to take full advantage of that until there was nothing left for him to gain from me. In a conversation following the breakup, he agreed that he took advantage of my kind nature. I stayed silent because this relationship did not just hurt, it derailed me. I have not fully come back to content or felt like myself since. Something I loved for the better part of a decade became tied to trauma. I did not want my career to be defined by him, but his actions left a mark anyway. This was not just cheating, it was emotional torment, manipulation, and intentional financial and career exploitation until there was nothing left for him to benefit. Despite this being incredibly long, this is only a fraction of what I endured in my relationship with Josh. I am sharing this now because staying quiet has not helped me heal. I want to be able to move forward with my life and career and finally put this all behind me. I've always kept my personal life private from the internet and tried to steer clear of any drama, but unfortunately, after being publicly prompted on multiple occasions, I feel a responsibility to share this with you all. Thank you for being so understanding understanding and still supporting me for the past 2 years, despite my absences and inconsistency. Hopefully it all makes more sense now. It's difficult to put into words how appreciative I am for all of you. I'm looking forward to the next chapter and whatever 2026 brings. Love you all, Kara/Captain Puffy. Back over to Twitter, Lexi quote tweets Captain Puffy's document by saying, I watched Kara lose her spark over the course of this relationship. Seeing her finally feel safe enough to share her story after being scared to for so long makes me so proud. Please give her all the love. And for the record, he live reacted to this document and laughed. What a guy, huh? And Jay replies, he deleted this VOD, what a scum. Javi also tweets out, nah, but for real. I just watched Ellum's response and this MF needs to be yeeted back to the UK. Alex tweets out, so I want to know what Ellum had to have said to convince his LA friends he wasn't a piece of shit. Cause for some of them to have known about this, either he's a great manipulator or they really just didn't care. And that's wild to me if it's the latter. And Finn replies, I don't think Puffy is that close to the LA people, so it wouldn't be entirely unbelievable if she never told them. And it's clear that the LA group usually have biases towards their friends over their friends' partners, so there's a huge chance they just gave him the benefit of the doubt. Jordan quote tweets Kara by saying, instead of going offline and handling this like an adult and putting out a proper response, Ellum is sitting on stream farming sympathy from his community while he struggles to find a response that isn't a lie or makes him look bad. It's so embarrassing, he knows he's cooked. And even though the VOD is deleted, there's a full link to the 30-minute archive in the description, but here's just a short clip from it. If you want to watch the full thing, it's linked below.
Like, chat, I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. This is something which I was assuming would happen at some point in the future. I was hoping we were never gonna have to do all of this, but unfortunately, it's just one of those things I'm gonna have to address. So it's all good. It's fine. It's all good. I just didn't think I would need to address this, but it's fine. Just obviously bad timing with the fact that this whole thing, but it's all good. That's fucking insane. That's literally fucking insane. There's gonna be stuff in here which obviously is true, and there'll also be stuff like look guys, there's gonna be stuff which is through a lens here where it's like from my side and also her side, okay, and how maybe she views something won't be the same as how I view something, you know, and that's completely fine. Like, I'm not gonna debate that, but there's always two sides to everything, and I'm not like saying that she's wrong or invalid to feel a certain way with stuff. Like, that's not what the point is, you know, but there's different perspectives on how things happen, and ultimately when it comes to breakup stuff or anything like that, it's just, you know, like, and honestly, this is a good thing because I can finally talk about it. I can finally just like fucking say it from my point of view. And hopefully this shit doesn't escalate and become something it doesn't need to be. I'm gonna probably just not look at Twitter. I don't know. I just kind of thought, like, you know, it's obviously me and my ex broke up, the best part of 2-3 years ago now. I kind of just thought it was let bygones be bygones, and then that would kind of be that, you know? But it's fine. It's just like, it's just when I see some comments, obviously it's kind of like hard to read some of them. It's when people call me an incel and shit, because it's like I'm literally not. Like, I'm a good guy, and I know I'm a good guy. So it's just when that happens, it's obviously kind of sucky.
But back to the video, Yeet also tweets out Kara's post with a caption, and Captain Puffy dropped a Google document about her experience with Ellum, where she accuses him of more than just cheating. That includes emotional torment, emotional manipulation, financial and career exploitation, and not properly taking care of their dog. And Goblin of Truth replies, to be honest, I have Google Doc fatigue, especially when they contain no direct messages, etc., because it becomes a he said, she said situation. But I've never really watched Ellum, only found him funny in collabs and GTA RP, so it's very unfortunate if this is all true. And Kronk replies, I'm usually more wary to believe this stuff as soon as it comes out, but it's always been kinda known, just never outright confirmed. When they broke up, Ellum was completely ostracized from the UK YouTube scene and stuff like that. And just as a quick cutaway for a little bit of context to this, Sandy quote tweets Captain Puffy's post with this picture in the caption, he's such a trash person, and I don't know if Poki really knew about this, but it's crazy how much people can get away with. And it's a post where Pokimane made a video with Ellum on TikTok, and then after some replies, some various backlash, she made a comment. This is in October, just about 2 months ago. And she says, "Hi guys, I've seen your comments and I've talked to the people involved. I take this stuff seriously, but it won't be discussing someone else's past relationship publicly. I appreciate y'all looking out for me." Over on r/LivestreamFail, Historical Alps also posted a document by Captain Puffy about Ellum, and Ishal replies, "He's a top-tier leech. He's living in LA with millionaire friends who got him signed to 100 Thieves so he could secure his visa, and is living in Pokimane's apartment. It's honestly impressive. They seemingly enjoy being around him, so he has been good to them at least, even if he was a bad and manipulative boyfriend to Puffy." And Yui Miko says, "For real, how did someone like Ellum, who is not the brightest light bulb, get so good at leeching? His RNG must be crazy." And Just a Bit Crazy replies, "He's one of those streamers that I don't understand how he has viewers. Anytime I've ever seen him in anything, he just seems like that loud, annoying kid from school who would show up to anything, be loud, laugh at their own jokes, and then ask when we're hanging out again. I've never heard or seen him do anything but laugh at his own boring jokes and act goofy." Electronic Humor replies, "I stopped watching most of OT and Friends whenever he came onto the scene. Couldn't stand him." And Rizla says, "That's crazy that seemingly so many people had that reaction to him. I just figured I was being a hater, and there has to be a reason why all these other big streamers put him on, and I just don't get his appeal." And Primetime says, "There's a lot of people he turned off from their streams. I was a casual viewer of Fuseli/Valkyrie, but he turned me off 100% from their streams for the past year. I don't think I have seen any outside collabs. The guy was so annoying, biggest leech I have ever seen. And since he was the one setting up games to play, he was there every time. People need to go and check his stream titles for the past 2+ years. Blah 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 game with Sekuno/Valkyrie/Fuseli/Tina Kitten in all caps every stream title. You can't find a single stream that doesn't have big streamers in all caps in the title. It's hilarious." Beery says, "Ellum being a shitty person, that's a leech. I don't think anyone's really surprised." And My Account Got Yoinked replies, "I'm more surprised how it looked like everyone was simping for him when he was just another small streamer. He got Ray to get him into 100 Thieves for a visa, Poki to split rent with, constant association with other much bigger streamers, but for some reason he still barely gets viewers." And Pokotros says he organizes lobbies. For whatever reason, the bigger streamers really hate making lobbies that much. Shout out to our tier 3 members, internet representatives Kiko, Sal, Coldest Bandito, and Captain Crash Out. Thank you guys so much for the support, and I'll see you on the next episode.